What's up guys, Austin here. Now I know two questions are on the top of your heads right now. The first question is, why are you wearing the suit? John's ripoff. I was pondering whether or not I should wear the suit, so I asked you guys online on Facebook and on Instagram and even on my Twitter whether I should wear the suit, and the first person to answer that question was the man himself, Jeremy Johns, and he said, wear the damn suit. So Jeremy, because of you, I'm wearing this suit. I'm wearing this because of you, brother, so thank you for your answer. Second of all, why are you doing a top 5 without your crew? Well, that's because, for one thing, I'm the one in the crew who has the deepest passion for horror films. Why are you doing another top 5 for horror films when you did do one in 2013? Well, that's because, well, again, horror films are my favorite passion. I love the thrill of being in fear in a very comfortable environment, especially with a girl, Sarah. In the 2010s decade, there have been, let's face it guys, there have been some pretty crappy horror films. Like Ouija, we've had Devil's Doo-Doo, thank you Jerome again for that. But thankfully there have been some great gems out there. So today guys, I'm gonna give you guys my top 5 favorite horror films of the 2010s decade so far. And also guys, if you couldn't tell, you can't really tell on the camera, I'm wearing my Shining Overlook Hotel t-shirt. Thank you to my cousin Shane for giving me this t-shirt. I love this thing, man. These are my personal picks. Sorry if yours didn't make the list. These are the ones that truly scared the shit out of me the most, and the ones that I know will stick the test of time. Now, of course, I do have some honorable mentions, so let me read them out. Okay, so the first honorable mention is I think a really underrated horror film that came out in 2011, and that is Silent Hill, starring Elizabeth Olsen, I believe her name is. Honestly, a lot of people hate this movie. I mean, I could see it because of the ending, but otherwise, guys, I found this to be a quite suspenseful and at times an absolutely terrifying horror flick. The next honorable mention goes to a horror film that came out in 2013, Youre Next, made by Adam Wingard. The movie came out in 2011, just like Silent House, but only in film festivals from what I've heard. The movie, I would basically describe Youre Next as the R-rated version of Home Alone. And it was a lot of fun. It wasn't really necessarily scary, but it was really suspenseful. And Adam Wingard moved on to do The Guest, which you guys haven't seen The Guest. I highly recommend that movie. I would give it a 5 out of 5. Now, my next honorable mention is the creepy mirror movie known as Oculus. Now, Oculus wasn't necessarily scary or frightening, but what it was that it was pretty much like a self-defense mindfuck. I'm serious about this. I went to go see a screening of The Other Woman last year. I swear to God, guys, the minute I got out, I hauled ass to another theater to see Oculus. That's what I just did. I mean, it had a great actor from Karen Gillan who went into Star Guardians of the Galaxy as Nebula, and it was also a great psychological drama about family troubles. I really dug Oculus. If you haven't seen Oculus, guys, and I also found it to be one of the most underrated films of that year, but Oculus was so well done, and I wish it got more love out there. The next I'll mention on here goes to Insidious, James Wan's fright flick from, I believe, 2011. I didn't like it at first. I don't know why. I thought it was just jump scare central, but then when I took a second look into it, this film is terrifying as hell. Aside from a really shaky third act, the movie is honestly quite terrifying. And my final honorable mention goes to Scott Derrickson's Sinister. Sinister was a movie that I saw a screening of and I loved it so much I went to go see it on Halloween night of 2012. And a fun fact, by the way, you wanna know why that day was so special for me back in 2012? Well, that was the day I got my braces off. So it was on Halloween, my braces got off, and I saw Sinister again. I actually paid for it. And you know what? It scared me to death just as much as it did the first time. I love the idea of a crime drama writer watching these Super 8mm tapes and just seeing this creature looking back at you and not even knowing it's there after the first time. I love that idea. It scared the crap out of me. It gave me chills. I'm getting chills. Anyways, guys, those are my honorable mentions. So let's get on to my top 5 favorite picks of the best horror films of the decade so far, in my opinion. Alright, so number 5 goes to a remake. You guys have probably guessed already. Number 5 goes to the remake of Evil Dead. Evil Dead, now I get a lot of you guys are thinking, whoa, wait, why is Sinister not here? Why is Insidious not here? Why is Youre Next not here? Evil Dead is on here. That's because when people try and do horror remakes, they literally try and just remake the exact same film. But what Evil Dead did was that it developed its own story, and it was a remake that stood on its own ground. Now yes, the acting isn't the best acting in the world, but still, Evil Dead, for what it did as a horror remake, it did a damn good job, and it still remains as my number 10 favorite film of 2013. It has a sequel, which is probably canceled now. Faye Alvarez, please, don't cancel the sequel. I really want to see where Mia's narrative goes. And I heard that at some point that if they were to continue this, that Mia and Ash would meet up. The two of them meeting up? Number 4 goes to a movie I recently just saw. Yeah, you guys guessed it. It's the indie horror film It Follows. I love low-budget horror films, even though low-budget horror films these days are the ones that usually suck. It Follows was a film that took independent horror and says, you know what? We can be smart again, and David Robert Mitchell, what he crafted was, for the most of the time, an absolutely terrifying flick. What I liked about It Follows most of the time was that its concept of pretty much a demonic STD, pretty much. The movie made literally any ordinary person look absolutely terrifying. That's what I give It Follows the credit to the most. I mean, not only that, but the amazing soundtrack, which I listen to almost every day now. Especially when I'm in a car ride, which is never really the best idea. This was a movie that took its time to build up its suspense. And when those things came, you're absolutely terrified. Number 3 goes to a film that came out in 2012, and it was a film I was looking forward to because it was directed by the writer of Cloverfield, which is a film that I loved absolutely, and it was also written by the guy who directed The Avengers, co-written by it. If you guys haven't guessed already, it is The Cabin in the Woods. It's a movie that took the horror movie genre, spit it on its head, and just broke it down. It was basically this generation's Scream. It literally deconstructs horror movies so well, but it also is a celebration of horror films. I remember when I saw the shot where you saw all those monsters, and my jaw just dropped, and even more so when they leashed on the monsters. Holy shit! Number 2 and number 1, oh my god, there was a debate in my head in this one. Well, one of these felt more of a complete film. The other one was just something else entirely. And you guys are gonna be really surprised that this is not my number 1. Number 2 goes to The Conjuring. The Conjuring was my number 1 of 2013. Now, if I could have a second opinion on my top 10 of 2013 list, Gravity would be my number 1 and The Conjuring would be my number 2. But anyway, and there's really no cheap jump scares. Everything was just so built up and the anxiety just kept going and going to the point of that scary ass exorcism scene. Oh my god! Like I mentioned with Insidious, James Wan is my very favorite horror filmmaker working today because he understands how the genre works. He understands how to scare people. And he understands how to keep the tension building up. Not only that, each scene that kept building up got scarier and scarier. I still remember the scene where the 2 girls were waking up, where Joey King's foot kept getting tugged on the bed, and then she was claiming to see something, and you could see this, and you could hear this hard pounding through the entire scene along with the bass going on with it, and then she would say, "There's something right behind." I'm getting chills thinking about this. And then she would say to her sister, "There's something right behind you?" And then you would hear the bass scroll up with the heart sounding even bigger and bigger and bigger, then the door would slam, and I almost screamed during that scene. I love the story, the scares were amazing, the cinematography was great, the sound design was incredible, even the acting was great. It was also one of my favorite theater experiences, and I want to say this again, guys. In The Conjuring, I have never held on to a girl so much in my life. Thank you, Sarah, for standing my shit that night. Now, number 1, guys. Now, I know you could be asking yourselves right now, what could possibly defeat a James Wan film? What could possibly defeat The Conjuring? Well, this one does. The moment I saw this movie, I just knew I was in for something special. So, my number 1 favorite horror film of the decade so far goes to The Babadook. The Conjuring is, I will say, it's a more complete, it feels like a more complete film, but The Babadook was just something else entirely. From the get-go, the movie is not just a horror movie, it's not just a thriller, but it's also a psychological drama. This is a movie that explored grief and depression while having a horror movie twist on it. A lot of people say that the little kid is annoying, you have to get to know him, but honestly, I love the kid from the start. I mean, honestly, when you don't have a dad anymore, and if you have a mother who does not know what the fuck to do when she is just depressed out of her mind, how would you act as a kid if you didn't have a father? Seriously, that's a tough thing to road, and especially for a little kid who no one likes. I felt bad for the kid, honestly. I was freaked out so much throughout the entire thing. And not to mention the Babadook, the creature itself, is by far the scariest monster of the decade. The very first time I saw that thing on screen, even though you saw its face, I screamed. It was that scary. I didn't even scream on The Conjuring. Yes, I went during The Conjuring, but I flat out screamed during The Babadook during one particular scene. Just the fact that this movie preyed on a person's spirit, saying, hey, you know what, if you keep saying I'm not real, I'm just getting stronger and stronger and stronger and stronger and stronger and stronger and stronger. Sorry if I just gave you nightmares for the night. Congrats to Jennifer Kent for seriously writing and directing for the best horror film of the decade. Not only did it psychologically unnerve me, but I think it was the very first film of this decade to make me scream. So The Babadook, congratulations, you are my #1 pick for the best horror film of the decade so far, in my opinion. Alrighty guys, so those are my picks for my top 5 favorite horror films of the decade so far. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. If Jeremy saw this, thank you again, brother, for answering my question. I hope you guys like the background. I hope you guys like the music I chose for this thing. I'm honestly very proud of this video, guys. Thank you guys so much for watching. Also, guys, comment and let me know below, what are your picks for the best horror films of the decade? And also, what are a few honorable mentions? And also, guys, I'm on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and Twitch. If you want to follow me on all those social media platforms, all the links in the description below. And I will see you guys next time.